Replay. We're back with some more Sisay Weatherlight Captain Legendary Blades. And we ask the question, which is mightier, the pen or the sword? Find out next on Commander Replay. I want to thank my awesome Patreon supporters. You guys are awesome. If you want to help support the channel and vote on which decks I play next, feel free to check out my Patreon at the link below. And be sure to use the TCG affiliate player link as it helps support the channel and it doesn't cost you anything. Welcome back, everyone. Playing some Sisay Weatherlight Captain Legendary Blades today. Take a look at this opening hand. 2 lands and a bunch of high drops isn't really where we want to be, so we're going to mulligan that one. Into 3 lands, open the armory, Captain Sisay. I like that a little bit better. Open the armory can do a lot of good things for us. We can get probably either a Sword of the Animist or a Sword of Feast and Famine, depending on how we're feeling at that moment. So we'll go ahead and keep this. So I've been playing this deck a lot in paper this year. It's probably been one of my favorite decks to play this year. It's not the strongest, but I just find it fun. So whenever I get the chance, especially if people are running decks that like aren't super crazy powerful, then I'll probably pull this out. Sometimes even when people are running powerful decks, I'll pull this one out anyway. If I've already got a win or two on the night and you know, want to give someone else a chance, sometimes I'll go for this deck. And it's just been super fun because it's a fun little puzzle, knowing you have access to a ton of cards in your deck. And typically the things that people will be doing will probably be stronger than what you have going on. So it's a fun little puzzle to solve to try and figure out how I'm going to win with things that are generally less good than what my opponents are doing. So I don't know, I just have so much fun playing this deck. And right now I'll actually post up the version of Sisay that I play with. It's an altar that I found on eBay, and this is the copy that I use, so hope you guys enjoy this. Anyway, that brings it to our turn 1. We draw a Cinderglade. We'll play the Cinderglade since it comes in tapped. And right now this deck list is an exact copy of my paper deck, except for the mana base. It's much easier to have all the fetches and duels on MTGO. I assure you that I do not have those in paper, and you know, the one thing that I'm usually praying for is a Burnished Heart in the opener, because that means that I have access to all the colors of mana that I need. 3 lands plus Burnished Heart is alright. We're not getting mana screwed today because my paper version runs a very budget mana base. It's got probably 12 or 13 basics, which is a lot for a 5-color deck, and it's got a lot of like pain lands, and yeah, it's it is a very budget 5-color mana base, so every once in a while it will lose to itself, but I did make some changes to the deck recently, where at one point I noticed that there were 22 4-drops in the deck, which made it feel really, really clunky, as you could imagine. So I've reworked the mana curve a little bit, tried to get a little bit lighter, especially on things that provide mana ramp, just because I noticed that cards were getting stuck in my hand, and things were getting really clogged up. And it's also an interesting commander, because once it's in play with a bunch of mana, you actually, a lot of times, will stop playing cards from your hand. So when a game ends, I still have, you know, probably 4 or 5 cards in hand. I rarely run out, because of the fact that you're just trying to activate that ability and get specific pieces and assemble them all together and do that kind of thing. All right, so that's going to bring it to our turn 2. We have a Green Sun Zenith. I don't think there's anything in this deck for X1. Maybe this deck needs like a Birds of Paradise. I don't know. So that being the case, let's go Scalding Tarn, crack the Scalding Tarn. We need something with some white. We've got green already. We've got black in hand, so I'm actually thinking it's going to be the Plateau right here. We don't have any red yet. We'll play the Open the Armory. Do we go Feast and Famine? Maybe we go Feast and Famine. Animist is good in a longer game. Feast and Famine is good right now. We'll go Sword of the Animist just because it's less likely to get removal. So, plus we can go Sisay on 3, Animist on 4, and get those lands going. Where with the Feast and Famine, we'd have to either lay it out there for a turn or wait till turn 5, and neither of those feel amazing. One thing we can do, we could Green Sun Zenith for Oracle of Moldiah, which is a thing that I might do. We'll get caught up on our opponents, by the way. They played a bunch of things while I was talking. First up, we have Fish Said Fish piloting Oros the Avenger, a commander that I've always wanted to build and have been thinking about for, like, I don't know, the entirety of this channel. At some point, I just need to actually, like, go and build an Oros deck, and I don't know, Oros looks like a lot of fun. Up to this point, opponent has played a Mother of Runes, which they have now equipped with this Basilisk Collar. They do have a Commander Sphere and an Arcane Signet, and a bunch of lands to go with it. Moving on from them, we have Chaotix 2075 piloting Kresh the Bloodbraided, and he's played only lands, tutors, and a land ramp up to this point, so a Sylvan Tutor and a 3 visits. And going to make his 4th land drop there, get a Scry. And then finally we've got Champion Athun piloting Marchesa the Black Rose, and they've laid down a Soul Ring and a Lightning Greaves. Marchesa is an interesting commander, the value it can generate and the general difficulty you can have trying to kill their creatures once they've got dethroned with the counter and all that. It can be kind of a headache, and as we found out earlier this year, Marchesa the Black Rose is a super sweet Death Render commander, and Death Render is a super fun card that, I mean, should probably go in this deck, even though it's not legendary, and the only thing keeping it out is the fact that I have too many things that cost too much mana already anyway. But Death Render is a super fun card. That's a Yawgmoth Thran Physician. I don't know how I feel about that. Actually, I do. I don't feel amazing about it at all. Opponent put some Lightning Greaves on it just to make that even worse. So it's going to bring it back to our turn. We draw into a Plains. What are we doing? Do I think that Sisay is just going to get shot if we play it? Kind of? Kind of? Yeah, I think because of the Yawgmoth, I'm going to take it really easy right here. And, oh man, it's so risky. If the opponent plays 2 creatures, they can sacrifice them and kill our commander. Yeah, I don't think it makes sense to really try and play our commander. Oh, man. All right, I think we have to take the risk. Here's why. We really want to get the Sword of the Animus going. We're last in the turn order, and we're going to be super slow. I mean, we're already behind our opponents, so we have to hope that just more exciting things happen that they don't want to shoot our commander. Oros the Avenger coming into play. Yeah. You want to know who has the ability to kill non-white creatures? Oros the Avenger. You want to know who's got a non-white creature? Champion Athun with this Yawgmoth Thran Physician. You want to know who has white creatures? Us, with Sisay Weatherlight Captain. Chaotix's going to pass with his mana open, assumingly he'll just crack the burn chart at some point. Here comes Marchesa of the Black Rose. Yup. Chaotix has feelings about that. He's going to play a Red Elemental Blast and say, counter target blue spell. I am feeling that. Red Elemental Blast is a really good card. Like, really, really good. Marchesa going to send the Yawgmoth into the Kresh opponent. Block and sack. Here comes the block. And here comes the sack. Going to get themselves 2 lands. One thing I was thinking about before the game started, another card I need to get for this deck is Bear Umbra, which are not terribly expensive, and also can go into the incredibly crowded 4 converted mana cost slot in this deck, but untapping your lands, pretty big deal, and because Hammer of Nazan is one of the first things that I always go for with this deck, Commander's got indestructible most of the time, so there are many games that happen where it does not get removed from play, and generally I go to some lengths to prevent it from being removed from plays. So one thing to think about adding for this deck is this deck is super mana hungry. You can never produce enough mana with this deck. So anyway, brings it back to our turn. We draw a mountain. Let's get this island into play. Let's play the Sword of the Animus. Let's equip the Sword of the Animus. We're going to send a shot over to Champion Athun. They've got the Yawgmoth. Use the Sword of the Animus ability. What color are we going for right here? We've got a red and a white in hand. I mean, I'm thinking another forest, to be completely honest. Let's get a forest. And this should give us, yeah, that gives us a set of Wooburg in play, so that's good news. Opponent's talking about it, says Marchesa feeds Kresh anyway. I don't know why you wanted it gone. Oh, yeah, I guess that's the thing. Stalling for a turn, that makes sense. Probably the only time they can use the Red Elemental Blast. Yeah, that's also true. Oh, that's a Gisela Blade of Gold Knight. Oh my, that's a card. That's, cool. Oros coming our way. No big deal, just take this hit for 12. 12 Commander, 27 life. Oh my. And worst of all, I mean, probably forces us. Actually, one we can do. Nope, we won't have enough power in play to be able to make that play. What I was going to say is there's a card I've added to the deck. It's called In Bolus's Clutches, and it allows you to steal a permanent, and it itself is legendary. We could steal this Gisela, which seems like a pretty good idea, although there is a Mother of Runes in play. Bad. Everything seems bad. Means if our opponents don't play some removal, we could just die to Oros next turn. Here comes the Marchesa back to play. Opponent's going to move the boots to the Marchesa. Opponent's going to do some attacking, get themselves some dethrone counters. Opponent's going to block with the Cauldron Familiar. So opponent's going to put a minus counter on the Mother of Ruins. They're going to protect it. Move the boots back to the Yawgmoth Thran Physician. And Marchesa the Black Rose comes back at the end step. There's a land. It's fine. I was kind of hoping for board wipe, but that's not what happened. So I guess we're going to play the tropical island. Then we're going to play this Vraska. We're then going to destroy this Gisela. We have a 5/5, although Oros can hit it in the air if they want to, but they may have to handle the Marchesa opponent. Is tapping Sisay worth... Chaotix probably isn't going to attack. Marchesa probably wants to attack the thing with the most loyalty. I think does Oros just try to... Let's just swing. If Oros just tries to kill our Vraska, then there's nothing we can do about it, so we're going to send this back into Fish Said Fish. We'll get a Sword of the Animus trigger. Guess we'll get the Swamp. And pass turn like that. So opponent takes a hit, goes down to 34, 5 commander. They are still on the throne. Tough choice right here. Opponent is holding up priority. Probably thinking about whether they want to sacrifice Marchesa to minus the Mother of Ruins. Oh, and it still has protection from black. So that does not work. We do have Oath of Liliana in the deck, and that may actually be reasonable. Here comes Worn Power Stone for opponent. And Rule of Law. Actually, we don't care about Rule of Law. We put things into play, we do not cast them. See if Oros comes into the Planeswalker. No, I'm going to send it back at Marchesa. Okay, that works for me. So Oros will hit, but opponent's out of mana. And that brings Marchesa down to 24 and 6. Commander. Here comes Nature's Lore for opponent. All the mana ramp. Nature's Lore way less good when a Rule of Law is in play. Opponent's going to Tech Edge the Gaia Reach Sanitarium. Interesting. So I think Chaotix has something in his hand he really wants to protect. Because he's got one card left. And did not want opponent to have the Gaia Reach Sanitarium. So, yeah. Maybe this deck needs the new Ugin to make artifacts cheaper. It may actually be a pretty good idea, because sometimes I'll get stuck with all the 6-drops in my hand, and those are never great. Always that feeling like I want like a Brainstorm or a Scroll Rack to exchange the cards in my hand with things that are more castable, because like when Tatsumasa gets stuck in the hand, it's not great, but it's such a fun and flavorful card. It's one of those things I want to keep in the deck until I'm ready for it. Here comes the Dockside Extortionist for opponent. This is going to get them some mana. Oh, that seems really good in a Marchesa deck. I mean, it's really good in most decks, but any deck where you can bring it back, I've been using it in Gerard, and it makes Gerard insane. Because I don't actually need to go infinite. If I cast it one time and bring it back one time in a turn, that's like probably 10 extra mana or more on that turn, and you can do some ridiculous things. Like, I've had it come up where I play Dockside, sacrifice Gerard. They both come back, and I get so much mana that I can just afford to recast Gerard. And then do it again. It's absurd. It's so ridiculous. So yeah, like not infinite, but it's good. It's just good. So small attack into the Oros opponent, and Yawgmoth. Yawgmoth gets them for 3. We draw Underground Sea. Was not looking for that. Play the Underground Sea. So what's frustrating right here is that if we, you know what, we could Green Sun for Azusa. Get these last 2 lands into play, although I kind of want the Oracle of Moldiah. Yeah, let's Green Sun for Azusa. Get ourselves an Azusa. Play these last 2 lands, plus our Vraska. We're going to leave our mana open. I made this mistake last week playing this deck at the shop. I tapped out for something when I should have left mana open, and then I lost the game on the next turn, and it was about this time. It was turn 6. So being able to tutor something and respond to it is really important. We'll swing into the Oros, and we'll get a Sword of the Animus trigger. Thought about swinging into Chaotix at the moment just because he doesn't have anything, and, like, he's tapped out, so he couldn't do anything about it, and I don't know. Decided to go with the Oros, though. They did get us for 12, so that was a bit of a thing. Seems like we have a lot of red mana already. We've got a little bit of white. Let's get more white. I think there's some, like, double and triple white costs in this deck. Opponent's just going to block with the Mother of Ruins. We could give trample, but, again, I want to stay open. To whatever situations may arise. Oh, opponent's going to respond and sacrifice their own Yawgmoth to get rid of the Mother of Ruins. Oh no, he sacrificed the Dockside, excuse me. Okay, yeah, that makes more sense. I'm sure that makes opponents sad about not being able to just, like, sack this thing a couple times each turn and do that whole bit, because It's real strong. Here comes an Enlightened Tutor for opponent. Yeah, let's see what they got. Oh, you wonder what we could have did? We could have got... Actually, no, we'd have to get the damage through first, but we can get Marisi. I forgot to put Marisi in this deck so that we can goad other people's stuff. Ooh, opponent gets a Repercussion. Oh my. Here comes the Repercussion. And opponent's going to send that Oros our way. What do we have that we can throw in front of it? We can get something up to 4 mana. I don't think we have any 4 mana flyers. Oh, we do have an Oath of Liliana, though. And now actually seems like a great time for it, because not very many creatures in play. All right, activate Captain Sisay. Let's get Oath of Liliana. And each opponent will sacrifice a creature. So the Vraska and the Oath of Liliana, not a ton of removal in this deck, but I can tutor for both of these, and we'll do that from time to time. So Oros gets sacrificed, and Yawgmoth gets sacrificed. So actually in a decent little... Did I forget to plus Vraska? Did I already do that this turn? No, this was opponent's turn. Yeah, I did plus the Vraska. Opponent does have boots, so they could swing into it with something. We might throw an Azusa in front of the bus, but prefer to hang on to it if we can. There is a Rishkar's Expertise in the deck. You never know when you're going to draw it and draw like 10 cards. Here comes Sylvan Library for Chaotix. And with the Rule of Law in play, that's all he's going to do. That's going to be an overloaded Cyclonic Rift from opponent. Oh, yeah, that's bad. Cyclonic Rift is bad in general. It's really bad for this deck, because this deck is all about paying that Wooburg to cheat the mana cost of stuff. Once those things are in your hand and you have to pay for them, it's just awful. Here comes a Mana Crypt for opponent. That does get rid of the Rule of Law. So we'll want to get as many things back into play as we can before the Rule of Law comes down, because it will be difficult to do so afterwards. Here comes Marchesa into play. There's the Lightning Greaves. A Joyra off the top would be interesting, because we would be able to draw a lot of cards. Ooh, opponent's going to reanimate on the Yawgmoth. Okay. Going to send the Marchesa the Black Rose into us. We are not on the throne, so it won't get the counter. This is also a great time for some board wipe action. And they sacrifice their Marchesa to draw a card. Wow, really? It's a lot of mana to draw a card. I'm surprised they didn't attack Oros or Chaotix to get the counter first. Leaves a bunch of mana up. It's not great. Or maybe they just can't cast the thing. Maybe they drew a land. I don't know. That's a Whip of Erebos. That's a reasonable pickup. Let's play the Oath of Liliana. So this will get rid of the Yawgmoth, which is the thing I'm all about. Still will have enough to go Vraska. Yeah, let's just destroy the Lightning Greaves. Lightning Greaves are a problem. And then we'll recast Sisay. And that'll be a Captain on the Bridge. So Sisay into play. And at the end step, we'll get an Oath of Liliana trigger. We'll get to make a zombie. Said he just needed the card draw at the moment. Yeah, I see that. That's another great thing about this deck. Like I said, you know, at some point, if you have mana with Sisay in play, you stop casting cards from your hand. As long as Sisay is in play with mana, you don't need that much card draw, because you can get things out of your library. Now, sometimes you want to draw cards just to keep hitting land drops and stuff, which we did miss our land this turn. So it's not that you never want to draw cards, but you can get by with much less card draw than you would in most decks, especially when you get to this point where everyone's kind of stalled out. Oh, that's an Aura of Silence. That card is terrible against our deck. Oh my. Could there be anything worse? Opponent's going to recast the Arcane Signet. I don't know if Sword of the Animist is really worth 4 and 2 to cast and equip. Actually, we have 11 mana, so we might be on double activate Sisay right here. Ugh, even still, though. Aura of Silence is not amazing. The plan might be like Marisi and Joyra. We could get Godo at some point, too. Oh, there's no Godo in this version of the deck. Oh, I gotta get a Godo in here. How did that happen? It's like one of the best cards in the deck. Oh no! Finale of Eternity X4. Destroy up to 3 target creatures, toughness X or less. If X is 10 or more, return all creature cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. Oh no, our stuff. Alright. So, looks like we're going to be going to Sisay and Azusa. Oh, that's a Villa's Broker of Blood. How do we get rid of that? Opponent's at 13? Where'd all their life go? Brass Squire. Nope, not what I was looking for. Huh. Well, let's start by plussing the Vraska. If we recast our commander, it's probably just going to get Villist. What's in the deck? Sisay will have 4 power. Meaning we get a 3-drop. Oath of Liliana has already been used. Opponent's certainly going to be gunning for us. Maybe we get like a Helm of the Host? So if we got a Helm of the Host in, then next turn we can make a copy of Sisay, assuming opponent doesn't hold up mana. Yeah, I think we just hold up mana. Choices right now, I think, are like Helm of the Host, maybe Marchesa to goad the Villas. Oh, we can't even get Helm of the Host. At 3 mana, we actually can't get anything. Oh, we just messed up. We just messed up. Big time. Well, here comes the Rule of Law. That's at least a little good against the Villas, because they can draw a lot of cards, but they can't necessarily cast them all. I mean, I guess the question is, do they pay enough life to... So they lose 2 life to put minus counter on a creature. They would lose 8 life to try and shoot Sisay, and we would respond. And actually, we may want to respond right now. Here comes Sylvan Library for opponent. Oh, the Aura of Silence is still in play. We don't really want to go on a Helm of the Host play. What we do want to do is activate Sisay. We're going to get Sword of the Chosen. And this is basically just to make it... opponent would have to go to 1 life to... Well, maybe they can time it. Yeah, they'd have to go to 1 life if they want to shoot down Sisay. Lose the mana crypt flip. Lose the mana crypt flip. Yeah, they lost the flip. They're going to draw cards, but they go to 10, which means killing Sisay isn't really worth it for them, I don't think. Unless they find some life gain. Opponent's going to target the Wood Elves. Going to draw some cards. Going to send Villas over to the Oros. Okay. They take a hit for 8, down to 22. Ooh, a Flayer of the Hatebound. When any creature enters the battlefield from a graveyard, deals that damage equal to its power to any target. Seems scary. That brings it back to our turn. We draw an Eldamri's Call. What to do with that? Gisela's nice, but we don't really want to hard cast it. Padim would be cool. That would give us protection from the Aura of Silence. Opponent's got 3 black mana up, so they can still shoot a fair bit of stuff. Maybe we just go ahead and destroy this Villas. Villas is really scary. Oh, we can only cast 1 card from hand, by the way, because of the Rule of Law. Opponent going to minus on our Sisay a few times. Also going to minus on the Flayer of the Hatebound. So that's going to come back. That's going to do 5 damage to our Sisay. So I think it's time to activate Sisay and get ourselves a Hammer of Nazan. Oh, hey. Oh! We're not going to have enough power to do this. Well played, opponent. Well played. Can we make opponent lose 2 life at instant speed? Oh, you want what we can do? We can activate now? Yeah, okay. Activate now. So Sisay's a 5/5 again. Perfect. All right. Then do this again. Anything that gives protection from red. Hammer of Nazan's indestructible. We probably want that anyway. Yeah, I think Hammer of Nazan's fine. See if opponent could shoot it at some point, and that would be not ideal. And opponent's going to shoot our Hammer of Nazan. Awesome. So Sisay will go down. Our choices are Helm of Kaldra and Blackblade Reforged. Might as well get Blackblade Reforged. That's going to be a handy one to have around, I think. And Sisay goes down. Villas goes down. Opponent's at 2 life. Their life is hanging in the balance of the mana crypt flip, so I guess that's fine. Here comes a Grave Titan for the Oros. Yeah, that'll get them back into it. We seem to be unable to draw board wipes of any kind, so that's been not amazing. The good news is now the Aura of Silence is gone, which means we can actually reasonably cast the artifacts in our hand. I wonder if this deck needs an Ethereum Sculptor. I feel like that card might be helpful. Sylvan Library for Chaotix. There's an Oracle of Moldiah. Yeah. It's a card I've been trying to get all game. Hasn't panned out. They got a Forest on top. They will play it. Now they've got a Corpse Jack Menace on top. So that's going to bring it to Marchesa's turn. They got a Mana Crypt flip on the stack. I really hope they lose it because we're probably going to take a big hit if they don't. Ah, they lost the flip. Down they go. Nice. Yeah, Villas is a dangerous card. Next thing to deal with this is Grave Titan. We don't really have a great answer for it at this moment. There's Tatsumatsu. That's the card you never want to draw. We can Eldamri's Call for something. Gisela, maybe? We could also get Shroom, which would get back Hammer of Nazan. That's probably actually a really good place to be. See how much mana we have? We have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We have 11 mana. It'll be 8 2 Eldamris and get Shroom. That'll bring in the Hammer of Nazan. It leaves us with 4 left over, which means we could either play a Whip of Erebos or... Oh, nope, Rule of Law is still in play. Can't do any of that. Cannot do any of that. How much does it cost to cast Sisay? 7. I think we're going to be taking a hit for something here. I think that means the plan is play Captain Sisay, equip Blackblade Reforged, and we will Eldamri's Call at an end step at some point. Yep, that looks like it. We've got a 13/13. Would I trade it with the Grave Titan? I might. Although, on the other hand, Sisay can get a bunch of cards that we've been needing to get all game, and that's a thing to think about. We could Embolus' Clutches, the Grave Titan. That would be a strong play. Oros coming back to play. Yep, it's a big flyer. The other thing we could do, we get Urza's Ruinous Blast. Doesn't fix Oros, but it gets rid of some other things in play. Opponent's going to activate Castle Lochtwain. I should read this. Draw a card, then lose life equal to the number of cards in your hand. Oh. So you want to be using that when you don't have very many cards in hand. They just activated it and had 3 cards at the time, now 4. Grave Titan. Ah, yes, opponent doesn't want to lose a Grave Titan. Going to send it into Chaotix. All right. And so that's another thing with this deck, too, is that, like, the draws can be awkward with stuff like Tatsumasa and some of the other big equipments. Like, you really don't want Tatsumasa. You really don't want Elbrus the Binding Blade in your hand at all. You want to be getting those with Sisay out of the deck. And so, yeah, it does get a bit awkward, but that's what makes it fun, is that, like, it's not a crazy overpowered deck. Like, you need things to go right just for this deck to work, and if people just focus you down with removal, you're going to lose. On the other hand, the stuff that I'm doing is usually less scary than what everyone else at the table is doing, so this deck doesn't usually take too much focus. Occasionally you'll see a key piece like Hammer of Nazan get blown up, which, you know, is fair. Champion has faced this deck a number of times, and he really doesn't care for it, actually. He says he loses to it a lot, and, you know, it's not that this deck wins every time, but it's able to grind out the late game really well, and it makes a lot of mana, so, you know. You do have access to the cards in your deck, which can be good when everyone gets stuck. So, you know, in the late game, it is a solid deck. But yeah, for most of the game, people will be doing things that are generally scarier than what I'm doing. So it just doesn't take that much focus, you know, until Kaldra's assembled, until there's a Withengar on the table, stuff like that. All right, at the end step here, we're going to fire off this Eldamri's Call. And I think we're going to get Shroom. I like the Shroom line right here. Gives us a flying blocker, gives us indestructible. All seems like good things. There's a Padim. So, yeah, let's get going. Cast Shroom. Get Hammer of Nazan into play. Been thinking about whether to put it on the Shroom as a blocker or the Sisay. Sisay's more valuable, but Shroom can stop the Oros. I think I'm going to go... Oh, man, because I'm going to go for the Sisay. Sisay is more valuable. Doesn't really make sense to attack anything right here, so we're just going to stay put. Oh, actually, with the Sword of the Chosen, we can make Shroom big enough to withstand the Oros, so that works for me. Okay. Next turn, we'll think about maybe the Whip or something like that. What I'll probably do here at the end step, probably activate Sisay for Urza's Ruinous Blast, and I suppose we could have done that right now, but I think this will set us up nicely for next turn, assuming no crazy amounts of removal or anything like that. So one combo that I just added to this deck that I have not been able to get working yet, I added a Wayfarer's Bauble, and it's already been in the deck for a while, is Glissa the Traitor. So, you know, when things die, you get artifacts back to your hand, and, like, that's just a really good artifact to get back to your hand. So, cute little way to continuously make more mana. Here comes a Repercussion. Opponent's going to sacrifice their Sakura Tribe Elder. Ooh, this could be bad. On the other hand, if they send a ground creature our way as this opponent, whenever a creature is dealt damage, it deals that much damage to that creature's controller. So, you know, if opponent sends a ground creature our way, they will lose a lot of life. And actually, opponent can't activate their Oros because each of these zombies would take 3 damage. And, yeah. Ooh, opponent's going to send stuff our way. What are they thinking? This Repercussion will kill them. Will it kill us? Any legendary stuff we can do at instant speed? Embercleave has flash. I hope I left mana open for it. Oh, I think we're one short. You control? You control. We're one short. Anything else legendary? Legendary spells or anything like that? Any way to give our stuff a first strike? How much damage is actually coming at us? That's 6 plus 4 zombies. That's 8. That's 14. I mean, rule of law is in play. Opponent can't play anything. We have lethal. I think this is going to kill opponent. So, block. There's no point to block the Grave Titan. Pump Shroom? This is going to be 23 to opponent. Repercussion's going to trigger a bunch of times. We go down to 9. It's getting down there. Opponent dies to their own repercussion. We put him at 0. Nice. Oh my, that's silly. So now the rule of law is gone. Chaotix can cast all of his cards. We can cast the Whip of Erebos in our hand, which is a thing that I very much want to do. Sylvan Library for Chaotix. Oh no, Crows and Grip on Blackblade Reforged. Why? Why? Our Sisay is now way less scary. On the other hand, opponents at 9 life, we don't need that much to kill them. Ooh, is it Beseech the Queen? Beseech the Queen could actually be a problem. Let's see what opponent went for. Vandal Blast. Rude. So rude. Here comes the overloaded Vandal Blast. Alright, what do we need to do before all our stuff gets blown up? I guess we just wait, activate Sisay. What are we gonna get? Here comes Kresh. Oracle of Moldiah coming in. Yep, opponent's gonna get us for 2. So gaining life is probably a good idea. Some semblance of maybe reanimate the Shroom, have Shroom get back the hammer is a smart line of play. We could get Urza's Ruinous Blast, but the only thing that would hit is a land, a Sylvan Library, and an Oracle, which is like fine. Still leaves the Kresh in play, which will get huge, I'm sure. So we'll activate Sisay at the end step. Take a look at everything that's available. Imbol's Clutches is a very real card. Gisela is a very real card. Muldrotha is a very real card. I think I like the, well, let's see, if we go Muldrotha, get a land, that'll put us on 12 lands, which will be exactly enough to get Shroom. Shroom brings back the hammer. That gives us Indestructible once again. Could also get Vraska, shoot Kresh, gives us a zombie token. Can't do, like, all the things I want to do. We could get Nazan. Nazan gets Pariah Shield. Make sure Pariah Shield's in the deck. Ooh, I don't think it's in the deck. Okay. So that trick is gone. There's Primeval's Glorious Rebirth. Return all legendary permanent cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. That would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, we have a winner. We have a winner. Primeval's Glorious Rebirth. There we go. Here's a Tundra. Play the land. So what happens? Shroom will bring back an artifact. Actually, that won't even matter that much because all the artifacts will come back on their own. But that does get us the hammer and the Blackblade and the Vraska. Yeah, that seems like exactly what we want to be doing. So 2 Hammer of Nazan triggers. What are we attaching things to? If we attach everything to Shroom, I think we have exactly enough to get Helm of Kaldra and give this Shroom haste and finish it up right here. So equip everything to the Shroom. No legal targets for Shroom's ability. Use the hammer. Use the hammer. Shroom is huge. Activate Sisay. Get Helm of Kaldra. Play Helm of Kaldra. It'll get a free equip. Might as well play the sword. It'll get a free equip. And we have Voltroned. Go to combat. Did forget to get the whip. So hopefully this ends it, because if it does not, we're in trouble. Sword of the Animist will trigger. Let's get a mountain. And there it is! We took it down! We finally Voltroned! Oh, nice. Oh, I love this deck. It's so much fun. So yeah, it's not quick. Like if you're playing against fast, powerful decks, this is not the deck you want to bring. But if you think it's going to be a longer game, people are playing chill decks. This is usually the deck that I reach for, and it's been a lot of fun. So many fun choices to go to. You're always thinking about like what thing do I need for this situation. In Bolas Clutches has been a really big add to the deck. Like I talked about, getting the mana curve fixed up a little bit. Probably need to add a Bear Umbra into the deck. What other changes? Waiting for the Wayfarer's Bauble magic to happen, where you have it on turn 1, get the land on turn 2, and then, sometime later it gets reanimated from one of the various artifact reanimation sources. Need to add a Godo to the deck. I actually don't think I have a Godo in paper for this deck. Or if I do, I had to rob it from another deck. I've been shorthanded on Godos a lot, given all the equipment decks I run. But this is what the deck is looking like right now. Also don't have an Avacyn in paper, so that's one thing. So I guess there's a couple small variations from the paper list, aside from the mana base, but just about everything else is the same. One card that I really need to get that I don't have in paper is Oath of Nissa. It's legendary in 1 mana. In the case of this deck, you probably just look for a land, but the fact that it'll just sit there and be legendary and a color is actually pretty good for Sisay, so... Anyway, fun little game, weird. One opponent died to a suicide attack, another opponent died to a mana crypt flip. We actually only killed 1 player, so take that for what it's worth. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. As always, feel free to comment, like, or subscribe. Thank you for watching.